Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I'm Ribbert. This is one of my builds. And the game is SimCity for those of you who might not know it. This is SimCity 4. It's a very old game. It's from 2003 or something like that, I think. Last time we built this little beach area here, but I didn't decorate the beach yet because I didn't really have the right mods or stuff. In between episodes I just went and connected the diagonal area over here to the beach because there were these two roads here and I thought it would be nice to have it connected. Another thing I did in between the episodes is over here I'm kind of designing something of a meandering hill climbing road, but the design that I came up with here, it's quite compact and it does do what I wanted it to do because it, as you can see here, it's almost at the right height for this area of terrain. And yeah, if I think I can smooth this whole cliff stuff out a bunch if I just use these heights and make a couple of plateaus maybe, or just somehow smoothen it out. But then I came up with the idea of using some fractionally angled roads, and then over here I experimented with the bends that I had at the end, because first I was gonna make them flat, but over here you can see you can actually make them slope as well. So this might I don't know, it takes up a bunch more space probably. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to, I kind of want to try this at some point. Not sure yet, but I also installed a bunch of beach stuff. I tested some of them out and I guess I'll show the ones that I got and tested and decided not to use. So there's these beach props. They aren't props actually, these are just normal beaches like the vanilla beach, but they're a bit changed and I think they're pretty nice. So there's a large version, there's like a 1 tile long version. I guess it needed to be inwards one more, and yeah, the textures are a bit derpy. So that's, I think it's meant for when you don't have, okay, I had it, okay, it wants to go there. So this is very nice. It's like a diagonal transition bit between parts, but I think, yeah, so this style tends to glitch out a bit, and I think it's because I'm using like a texture changer for the sidewalks. And this diagonal texture seems like it was meant to work with the vanilla sidewalk, so this looks very weird to me, so I'm not gonna use that. One other mod that I downloaded, I mean, you could use this and just not use a texture changer and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna change the entire basis of how I designed this city, because I chose these textures for a reason. They're not the, maybe they're not the best textures, but I think they look very, I don't know, they look very rural, or they aren't in your face, they aren't super wide. So I kind of like those textures. Over here there's just I actually never, yeah, let's just do a bit. What I could also do is make an extra little shop over here. Sorry, I got distracted for a little bit. So that was that beach. And I almost started building, or showing at least, the other beach. So there's these boardwalk kind of things. Yeah, so there's this thing called the Coastal Development Kit, or CDK. It's a set of mods that was made back in the days by the SimPeg website, and part of it is the old wooden waterfront sets. So these are part of that, and I don't have all the dependencies as you can see with the big brown box, but for instance this one, I think it looks pretty nice, and the idea of this set is that it doesn't change the ground texture, so you can just use whatever sand texture that you have for your beaches. This one's not really a, yeah, maybe it's not really a nice beach texture, I don't know. It's a bit sandy though. I guess it's one of, maybe it's a bit more of a British beach or whatever, or maybe it's just a bit of a more rocky beach. But I think the idea of this is very nice. I didn't install all the dependencies, and I did go out of the game in between things, but one of the things that I didn't really like is that you can't really round it off without transitioning into the boardwalks. Okay. I think I was just clicking the same thing twice there. Yeah, so this would be a transition. Okay, that's not visible. So I'll just hover it like over here. You can basically see the shape that it would make, and then over here it would be a bit of a boardwalk that you could use as a sort of a waterfront. I might want to do that, I'm not sure, but I didn't. It seemed kind of weird to do that in combination with the seawalls I have over here. So I decided to just jump or hop onto the internet again, and I actually downloaded a bunch of things. So I've got this, which is a mod that lets you place down sand, and there's this. Okay, this is apparently the large one, because I think the S stands for small. Okay, yeah, there's a small difference. Let's just. These things work pretty poorly with shadows, I believe. So you can have a bit of a white sand beach, which looks really weird with this background of. There's marsh, there's desert sand, and I guess this would be the type of sand that I would use most on something like this. Let's just place it around the water as well and see how it looks under the water, if it blends down nicely. I think if you place it all the way down like that, it can make for a pretty nice beach actually. Let's see if they. It's a bit painful to put down, and I'm not sure how well you can then put other stuff on top, because MMPs they take up like a coordinate on the map, which blocks other MMPs from occupying that coordinate or like that location. So this is pretty much how this one would look if you really plop it down there. Wait, which one did I use? I think I used this one. Yeah, the color changes a bit when you select it. So there's a large stony sand. It's a bit easier to put down when you zoomed in. You can make some pretty cool stuff with this though. Stony sand and light stony sand. Maybe this is actually the color I would imagine using on the beach, because this is a bit too white still. It's a bit too much gray kind of colors in my imagination of what a beach should look like. So this still looks pretty rough if you scale it with like what a sim would look like. I also installed some. I think I installed some stuff for just decorating a beach, and I'm beginning to doubt myself now. I think it was from a French website. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so there's parasols. There's all kinds of parasols. Can I plop those on here? Yeah, so nope. Okay. Every once in a while Maybe if I zoom in, I can't zoom in more even. So that's a bit awkward. And then I have like, I guess just some sunbathers of different types and rotations. Just people chilling on the beach, and I think that's nice. And Sims à la plage. La plage, I assume, because there was a song about a plage, I think it means the beach. So there's like just a couple of them, and I guess they're like just standing around. Maybe if you put them like, no, they don't really float, but you can put them like around like that and just have some people bathing, maybe. Oh, those. And sometimes when you rotate the camera, it changes, like, yeah, so now they aren't on top of the water, and some of them are drowning it, I guess. Would be cool to have some animated Sims or something like that. Some of these look super pale, some of them are super bronzed. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is all that I have actually, because it seemed like the mod showed some tiki huts or stuff like that, so I might have just, oh, Basinier. Oh right, I showed those off last time, I think. Trees, garbage. Okay, don't know why you'd want to put that down, but I guess there's some industrial settings that might look cool with some garbage. Yeah, so maybe I'm just gonna put some parasols down and a couple of sunbathers, because I'm not seeing any other of the things that I thought I downloaded. Abandoned boats. Okay, there's some beach clutter, maybe that might look nice. Maybe it would just look very derelict, which isn't nice. This black sand. It's actually super dark too. Okay, so this is me experimenting with the beach stuff for a bit. And if you have any good beach mods, because I've been looking for a while and I might just be not using the right search terms in Google, but I can't really find good stuff for the beaches. It's yeah, I don't know, it's weirding me out a little bit. This all looks a bit weird. I think I'm just gonna make this a bit more flat then. Maybe just use a bit of rail. Yeah, that doesn't look that much better. Maybe I can just do something over here. No, that looks even worse. So what I'll do is put a block there to define like a height standard, and I guess I'll just make the middle ones flat. Yeah, okay, it's gonna have to be like that. I lost quite some of the terraforming that I did last episode, so I'm just gonna hold control here and try to at least reduce. Yeah, it's a bit hard now. I'm probably gonna have to build that road again, because I do want this to be less derpy over here, and maybe I'll just give the beach a bit of a continuous aspect to it. And what I also noticed is that the steepness under the water is really big, so I want to, like, I don't know, maybe try to make this a bit more smooth underneath the water line by doing something like this. Okay, I destroyed another bit of road. Not sure, maybe I shouldn't be using control here. And I guess it makes sense to have a bit of a bay here. And this might all be very deep, so it might just be very gradual before she changes. You know, I think it makes sense to do a couple of strokes like this. And okay, so there's a bit of a water basin where you might let your kids swim without them sinking away into the depths of the water. So yeah, I'm a bit scared that my ideas for this episode are a bit too ambitious. Okay, so let's just sprinkle some parasols around, maybe like that. Maybe there's some over there. And I'll just do a bit of parasols first. There's two next to each other there, but that's fine. Sometimes people come into a big group and want an extra parasol. And I guess not everybody wants a parasol when they're going to the beach. I'm just gonna click a couple times here. The green one I've already had. That one I've already had as well, so let's do that one. Okay, that's a new one. Let's just do one of these maybe. I don't know. I think what I want to do is, I think they're wearing clothes, but yeah, that one looks very, okay, let's not zoom in on them, I guess, because I don't want to get like demonetized. Well, I'm not making money off these videos, but don't want to get like a strike or whatever they do these days. Let's just click some of them a couple times and try to get some random stuff going. I don't think this is gonna look very great up close. Oh, blue towel. I had one over there as well. Maybe it would have been better to just use one of the mods that I showed off earlier. But I don't know. I guess the idea is that it's a sunny day and some people are at the beach just having a good old time. What I do want to do is introduce some plants to this beach, so I'm just gonna have to scroll all the way up again, and this mouse is really nice for those kind of moves. So I have the evergreen and the seasonal. What I like to do with the feather grass at least. Oh, I'm still gonna need to fix these roads. So let me just do that first. I think these were diagonal like that, and there were those extra bits to make the bend smooth. But when you put the streets down, you can only make them smooth with the sand texture after you've done the whole street, because it stops the sand texture from transitioning, or well, not transitioning, but being carried over to the rest of the network. And it looks like yeah, okay, that's these things triggering like a grass effect over there. I'm just gonna have to try and do some plants and stuff. So let's start with some feather grass over here. Let's make a bit of a feather grassy pink here. So that's gonna be like the barrier between the road and the beachy area. And over here I guess I'll do some, I don't know if feather grass is like a water plant or anything. And I guess over here I might do a bit of a shop. I think if I shorten that by, oh, okay, that was where the Sam starter was. I'll just do the corner there. And maybe, maybe I can do this. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Of course, it also means I can't put any plants or anything over there anymore. So yeah, let's just do some plants here as well. I did some non-season one. Yeah, I always have trouble with these dates because in the Netherlands we have these numbers for days and months the other way around. But because this is a 9, that's 21, and we only have 12 months, I know that this is the month counter. So that means it's September, which means it's fine to plop some seasonal plants. And by mixing these up a bit, you get this, I don't know, I think it looks a bit nicer with an extra little layer of color. Maybe I should have actually started with the seasonal ones because they are a bit more beachy in their standard color. And I'm just trying to mix them in here wherever they fit. And after that I'll use some of the cattails by Giraffe, which are right on top of it. It's very convenient for me. And I'll show off some of the seasonal ones. And these they don't need as much space, so they very easily go down right now, because there's a lot of little empty space in between these feather grass things. They themselves need a lot of space, but they don't block a lot of space. They just leave tiny gaps all over that lets you sprinkle down some of these cattails. And there might be some other stuff that you'd want to get in here. For instance, you could for instance use some of the brown ryegrass like underneath there to simulate that that's a bit more of a dirt-like area. And I think it does. I think it makes a bit of sense, because you do have a lot of grassy little things that might just die in the heat of the sun and create a brown aspect to a vegetated area. So over here I'm gonna simulate a bit of an entrance, and I think you've seen me done this before if you've been watching a lot. That's not the right rocks. I've been using small and medium rocks for this, but I'm just gonna simulate like a little bit of a path here, or like a little barrier that they would have put up to keep people from just cruising all into the plants. And to be honest, on a beach like this you'd get those little, we call them elephant paths in the Netherlands, where people just take the shortcut, and because after a while a lot of people took that shortcut, there's gonna be some trampled ground there, which yeah, like kills the plants and stuff. So it's just a natural little bit of a path that forms over there. Yeah, maybe I could have done something like that. I think I do want to have some parked cars in here, because it would make sense with all of these people here that there would be some parked cars. And I think the idea of this beach is that they just park like along here and over there. And I do have some, and I haven't really played around with these yet. Okay, they are just different colors, so I'll put a couple of those down over here maybe. And I kind of want to see some, because a black car wouldn't make sense in the sun, right? Yeah, just a couple of different colors here. Maybe a blue one over here. I guess we don't have green ones. Okay, we do. Yeah, okay, some of those cars. These are the same cars, I believe, but diagonal. But I'm just gonna check it out. Yep, exactly the same car. So these are different cars. Let's look at these. Okay, these are a bit more random, it seems. So just try some of these out, hoping for one that faces in the right direction. That's maybe a bit too much red in one row. Let's just do a white one there. And some of these people decided to just drive into the parking way and just worry about getting out of it later. and some of these just backed into the parking area because they knew that it might be awkward to get out later. Let's look at these cars. The blue ones look a bit... I don't know what's going on with that roof. I don't know if that's glitching somehow or... Okay, so that's those. I also have these, which are just diagonal versions of those. These are also diagonal. These are diagonal of these ones. So I don't have too many cars installed. Let's check that it's orthogonal. Yes. Let's just do one more there. Oh, that's a nice color. And okay, it's a bit too red for me. Okay, whatever. Maybe that... no, that's too bright. Okay, a bit of a grey car. Okay, some random cars here. And yeah, maybe it makes sense to have a bit of a... because I do have that sand mod installed and it does have like a tiny version, so maybe try to make some car tracks. And let me just see which ones I like most. I think this is... oh, can you make... this is the small and this is the large one. What's the difference then? Okay, yeah, there is a difference, but the small one's also pretty chunky to me. Because I do know I have some more of those kind of things from the SimCity agricultural mod. Well, not from the mod itself, but as in a bunch of add-ons for the... okay, so there's a small one of this as well. It's very nice that they included the S in the picture. Okay, that's a bit large still. But it's less infringing. So you can use these to like decorate a shoreline, but I do think you want to just decorate it with plants and stuff first, because these block plants. Moss, gravel, pebble. Okay, so that's the smallest thing they have. So this is pretty small by comparison. So I'm sorry for wasting our time here. Yeah, some of you might feel that I should have just cut some of that out, and I'm not sure if I disagree with you, but okay, I'll just make a bit of a... let's just take the large one if we're gonna do gravel here. Make a bit of a gravel area here. So the parking area is a bit cornered off. Then just try to... yeah, so that's not gonna be really... I don't know. Maybe okay, I'm just gonna leave the beach as this for now. If you have ideas or mods that I should use, then I would be very happy to hear about it. For now, this is the beach. Yay. Yeah, okay, so I have the Meandering road ID here, and I'm just gonna try to get back here as quickly as I can. Yeah, so the idea would be to maybe get a 15-meter height over here, and then do a viaduct maybe. Is that a good idea? A bit of a viaduct that just goes over like that, maybe ends over here, right? Well, I'm not gonna use this maybe. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use the different technique that I came up with. Not sure how painful it's gonna be. I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna time-lapse it right now, and you can watch the time-lapse, and I might do a voiceover for the time-lapse later. But yeah, me having the freedom of just assuming I'm time-lapsing this, will make it a lot more chill for me to build these things. So let's go time-lapse. Alright, this is time-lapse Wibbert. Yeah, this took me a while to set up, because for some reason the video and audio were desyncing. I fixed it, I found a way to fix that, and here we go. So what I'm trying to do here is to find a way to change the terrain so that I don't have these super tall cliffs anymore. And well, in part this might have just been a bad idea for how to make a city on a mountain, but I decided to go with it, so that's that. And so now I'm trying to find ways to make it reasonable. So what I'm gonna do here is make a big meandering road that goes up the steepness of the mountain, and yeah, it's gonna end up dividing the cliff into smaller cliffs, and that's gonna be the way I'm gonna try to deal with it. And yeah, one of the parts that you'll see me build in the next bit is that I wanted to also include some tunnels, just because I think tunnels can be pretty cool, and it also makes sense in mountainous roads. You more often see tunnels than in non-mountainous roads, and this little bit gave me a bit of trouble, so eventually I think I managed to get it working, but it was part of the trouble was caused by me trying to make the bends, those two bends on a hill incline, so that was causing me some issues. Here I was just trying to extend that a little bit, so I had to change the whole cliff over there. And yeah, a couple things I noticed while making this. One of the things is that it's much more easy to use rails for generating the slope that you want when you're going downhill. For some reason uphill it's a lot harder. So yeah, when you do something like this, it's probably smart to just flatten the whole thing out where you're gonna build, then raise the highest point, and then just start dragging some rails from there if you want to use rails to smooth out the slope. Now over here I changed this bit up a couple times because I wanted to do a tunnel there, and I also learned about tunnels. That, for instance, over here you can see me try to make a tunnel with a 1 wide, but they need to be 3 wide. So yeah, if you ever want to use a tunnel for something like that, then you need to make sure that you have 3 wide, and that is because it changes the terrains near the tunnel entrances. Yeah, I derped out some shops there, so I decided to remake them. Yeah, so you need to make it 3 wide, and yeah, that's what I ended up doing. These cliffs still look a bit weird. Later on in the video I'm gonna be reshaping these cliffs, because I figured out how to very carefully terraform, and that's, yeah, I'll talk about that when I get there. So over here I decided to make another incline and then a bend to go in the other direction, because yeah, maybe I don't have very good reasons for the designs that I make, but yeah, I don't know. I think I was at least partially inspired by like a Mario Kart track from when I was young that had a lot of cliffs and stuff like that around it. I don't know, maybe that doesn't make sense, but yeah, I don't know. I think the track design was interesting enough to want to make something similar to it. Over here I'm starting to design. Yeah, I'm trying to work with these cliffs because the problem here is that that cliff was so high that you can't really terraform it normally. I guess I ended up cancelling that idea. Oh yeah. Yeah, so over here, this is the next day, because I actually recorded this in 2 sittings. And yeah, the second day I had some different ideas, I guess, so I changed what I started doing before, and I decided to make like a little bit of a bonus cliff or something over here, and have the road like encircle it to some degree. So what I'm trying to do here is use the rails, but the rails aren't very happy when being placed on terrain that's higher than the rails. So then you need to flatten out the terrain, and you don't want the terrain to be absolutely flat, because then the rails will tend to reduce in their steepness, because they do attempt to conform to the terrain, but they are just very strict in how fast their incline can change. Here I decide to make a bit of a see-through, or yeah, I don't know, a view kind of area, and I did some terraforming to make it a bit more random looking. And yeah, I wanted another bend there. So yeah, this is I'm using a mixture of fractionally angled roads and straight roads, and I think it made for a pretty nice result, because it made it all look very, not necessarily random, but very unpredictable to some degree. I guess unpredictable and random can mean the same thing, but you can have unpredictable stuff that is designed, and designed things by definition aren't random. So here I used this terraforming technique where you used shift 1 to get the smallest tool that you can, and then what I did was just test it out on a bit of empty terrain that I didn't care about, to see which corner it prioritizes when you hover over a square, because it only terraforms one corner when you're in a square. I didn't know that before this, so that was very useful for me to be able to very carefully terraform things without destroying too much of the infrastructure. It still destroyed a bunch of stuff, because for some reason the game still thinks that you're terraforming a bunch more than you actually are, but that's not a big deal because the terrain didn't change, so it's very easy to rebuild whatever got destroyed. So now we have a pretty big meandering road, but what is the road for? I was asking myself. So I decided to split off a road and just start making a neighborhood. This is just a first attempt on doing something like this. I probably want to do a couple more similar things like this. And yeah, I was just trying out how to use the rails here for making a quite smooth road network that would still go like down the hill. And I wanted to use streets, so I needed to use the diagonal tool that comes with the network add-on mod, because else the diagonal streets won't they will change the terrain if you do the zigzag thing that you draw by hand. Over here I was struggling a bit with getting the terrain just right, and then getting the roads in place, and then I needed to connect those roads, and it ended up changing the terrain a bit. And I wanted the roundabout there, but the diagonal didn't want to work with the roundabout. I'm talking a bit too fast, I think. But in the end, I derped out some of the height changes, or the height gradients that I made there. so I had to rebuild a bunch of stuff. And I found a better way of connecting those roads. Now here you see plopping down some, yeah, I did the terraform trick again there. Plopping down some, well, setting down some zoning for the buildings. And yeah, I was thinking maybe I can connect the bottom of that neighborhood to where the tunnel is. I'm not sure. This might all be going a bit too fast, so let me know if you think this fast forward, because it's going at 12 times speed. And I don't know, maybe it's a bit too shaky and a bit too quick. Just let me know, because I'm just experimenting with this stuff. The reason why I put it so fast is because else the video would be super long. And it's not that I don't want to make super long videos or whatever, but I think I don't want to expect you guys to take an hour of your game just to watch a bit of SimCity 4. So I'm trying to keep these at least under an hour these days. I haven't been always successful at that, but I'm gonna try to keep these at between 30 and 50 minutes, I think. Yeah, if you have like a preferred length of video, then I would really like to hear about it, because it gives me a bit of an idea of it. Yeah, whether it's just me that's obsessing about the length of these videos, or whether it actually makes sense. Yeah, so here I built, I accidentally destroyed the train station. Yeah, here I built a big long road that just goes down the hill. Not sure, because it's a bit too steep probably, and I might just have to change the whole thing, because the buildings will also end up looking a bit weird probably. So I'm not sure about that one yet. And here I'm back to 1 time speed, so yeah, if you think, oh, this dude is real slow, yeah, that's because we were just traveling at 12 times the speed of SimCity, and now we're doing 1 times the speed of SimCity. I used a bit of road there for the transition into streets at the crossing, because you can't just connect the street to a crossing. And here I'm just thinking, yeah, I want a roundabout there, and then some sort of a loop. But I didn't want to just make a straight loop, so I decided to just make a little bit of a wiggle. I guess you can call that a wiggle. I don't know if that makes sense to have 2 bends like that. Maybe a bit more of a smooth S bend would have made more sense. I think there's a Plopable S bend maybe, but that might just be for roads. I don't know, for some reason I tend to think that there is an S bend for streets, but then whenever I try to build one, it might just be for diagonal streets, because I do know that you can make something very close to an S bend for diagonal streets. So maybe that's what I'm thinking of. And here I'm just making a bit of a commercial area. It might not make sense to have a commercial area this out. Yeah, it's not really in a location where a lot of people would travel by, maybe. Although there's a rail line there where people might travel by. And there's a station nearby. And here I'm just gonna make a little bit of a decorated plaza area. And since I'm making a plaza, I thought I might as well put some extra shops around that. And yeah, this is just me still being in full chill mode, so if I'm building a bit slowly, then it's probably because I was building all this stuff quite slowly. I think it's better to just take your time in a game like this. Don't feel like you need to speedrun. And yeah, so that's it for the video. We started with the beach, for those of you who forgot. I cut out some footage where I added a bunch of bus stops and added this little bus area near the train station. And here is a bit of a overview of the meandering road. It's a bit stuttery for me, so I'm gonna have to check out whether that's just me. And okay, my screensaver just started to do things and I got super scared. Maybe I did something wrong here. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep talking. And I might just do the outro later, I guess. So yeah, I think this is actually not playing on normal speed. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'd like to see you again. Goodbye.